Okay, cool.
Excellent. Estamos começando mais uma Wikimetal Happy Hour com uma lenda do heavy metal mundial, o vocalista Ralf Scheepers, do Primal Fear, uma das grandes bandas da Alemanha, uma das grandes bandas do heavy metal atualmente no mundo inteiro. E é um prazer falar com ele. Eu vou traduzir as perguntas e as respostas. So thank you for having us on Wikimetal Happy Hour, Ralf. It's a pleasure to have you. You're one of the greatest voices in metal today, and Primal Fear is certainly one of the most important heavy metal bands in Germany and in the world today. Welcome to the Wikimetal Happy Hour.
Oi, amigos. Obrigado muito mais.
You have a very good accent.
Thanks.
You've been to Brazil many times, right?
Yes, I do, and I have friends there as well. So great, yeah, wonderful, beautiful country, and we love to come back every time. Not only me, also the entire band.
But have you been to Brazil apart from doing shows?
Yes, we were. I think the first time we were in Brazil, we were invited to a friend's house, actually from a Brazilian magazine, and we were spending some days before we did live shows and interviews. So that was great.
I suppose did you go to, was it Matthias or Eric De Haas or those?
No, I think it was, I'm not quite sure. I don't want to be unfair to the person who invited us. I think it was Matthias. Sure. Eric is a long year friend as well, like a Bierchen. We always have a wonderful time with Eric. He's just, this is our friend of Brazil, the Dutch Brazilian guy.
crazy Dutch. I know Eric since I think '87. Since he arrived here for the first time, he's a crazy guy, a great friend. Eu estava perguntando para o Ralf sobre o Brasil. Eles têm uma longa relação com o Brasil. Ele já veio para o Brasil várias vezes, tanto com a banda quanto para descansar e tudo. Ele gosta muito daqui. Tem muitos amigos aqui. A gente falou de alguns em comum: Matthias Priel, o Eric De Haas. O Matthias é alemão, o Eric De Haas é um holandês que mora aqui há muitos anos e são amigos em comum. It's funny that the world is so small. We have common friends. We never met, but you see, even you being in Germany and me being in São Paulo, we still have friends in common.
Next time, man. Next time.
Yeah, next time for sure. Is it fair to say that? I mean, Germany is known for having, very many important metal bands, hard rock bands, since probably the Scorpions in the 70s and in the 80s, Running Wild and so many bands, Halloween, Gamma Ray, Rage, of course, Primal Fear. Is there any specific reason, do you think, for that to happen? Is there a real community in regards, regarding all the metal bands? Are you guys united as a community?
Yes and no. Sometimes we are united when it comes to have a certain common topic to support in the end, like now, the pandemic and so forth. But in the end, everybody is really fighting on his own channel in a way. But in the end, we're doing the same thing, and yes, we are a big family, but everybody's fighting for his own little thing in the end. And about Germany, that's maybe because so many bands in the 80s were just really infected by the new wave of British heavy metal back in the days. And somehow we learned a lot by listening to it, And I think that's the major reason why.
Eu perguntei para ele sobre a comunidade das bandas, né? Que a Alemanha é um país muito conhecido por ter bandas importantíssimas, né? Na história do heavy metal, desde os Scorpions, passando por outras várias bandas dos anos 80, 90, 2000. E eu perguntei se as bandas eram unidas, né? Por que existia, se essas bandas realmente são uma comunidade, né? Ele falou que sim e não, que quando tem assuntos importantes e relevantes para todos, eles realmente se unem, né? Como é o momento agora com a pandemia, mas às vezes cada um realmente olha mais pelo seu próprio umbigo, né? Às vezes pelos seus próprios interesses. I know that you just released the fantastic album Metal Commando in the end of July, and it's a very it's a real heavy metal album. It's if you want to explain to someone who has never heard heavy metal before what is heavy metal, you can play Metal Commando in its entirety, and that it's easy to explain heavy metal album concept to someone like that. So how challenging is for you to promote this album, not being able to do shows?
Yeah, I mean, of course, first of all, we're really happy about the results and about the reviews from the press first, and now also from the reaction, the feedback of the fans, which is the most important thing for us, right? So that's our work now, doing interviews and stuff, and somehow supporting still the album and being grateful for all our fans all around the globe. And then, yes, we would love to do playing it live, but as we know, it's not happening. We're in the same boat, and it's only trashing somehow phrases right now if you're saying we're coming back, and it's true, we're coming back. So whenever everything is opening, many bands will be on the road, and Primal Fear will be one of these bands.
Eu perguntei para ele, eles acabaram de lançar no dia 24 de julho um álbum fantástico chamado Metal Commando. Eu até quero que vocês ouçam, quem ainda não ouviu, é um álbum muito bom, e ele realmente resume o que é o heavy metal, né? Se você for explicar para alguém o que é o heavy metal, é só mostrar esse disco, que eu acho que é um bom exemplo do que é o estilo. E eu falei, qual é o desafio, né, de lançar um álbum num período como esse? Ele falou que é muito difícil, realmente, mas o importante é que eles estão promovendo o álbum dessa forma, né, dando muitas entrevistas e fazendo tudo o que eles podem, mas que eles realmente esperam em breve estar podendo fazer turnês e, logicamente, vir ao Brasil. Did you guys change your plans because of the coronavirus, or was it intended to be released at the end of July?
It did not affect the recordings, not at all. So we were just finished in January. And nobody knew about the virus then. It was just postponed for 1 week. It was supposed to be coming out at the 17th of July the first time, and then 1 week later. So because, we had some problems in terms of putting the artwork together and in terms of photo shooting, because the band could not gather together anymore in March because we were in lockdown. So we put something together digital in the end. It was a compromise, but we were really happy with it now. And in terms of video shooting, that was also not so easy because we could not fly in Magnus. The first video is a lyrical video, as you know, Along Came the Devil. And this was also supposed to be a band video. And that was somehow the major impact for us in terms of promoting in all the other media all around the city. But in the end, Nuclear Blast and, of course, Matt, as a band leader, somehow did an amazing job and helped to make it successful like it is now.
Eu perguntei para ele sobre esse desafio de se eles mudaram os planos por causa da pandemia, né? Ou se o álbum realmente estava previsto para sair no dia 24 de julho. Ele falou que a única diferença é que eles atrasaram em uma semana o lançamento desse álbum, mas que eles encontraram muitas dificuldades, principalmente para fazer os vídeos, né? Eles não podiam voar para se encontrar e fazer os vídeos, tinham limitações, tanto é que o primeiro vídeo é um lyric video, então foi difícil por causa disso. So, talking about Matt, he's your bandmate and partner for at least, 25 years. And how important is this relationship, and how did you guys first meet?
Actually, we met many years before everything started with Primal Fear. We were somehow together, even in the days when I was not in Gamma Ray. I was in a band called Tire and Pace. The fans might know it. He was always in Sinner, and I think we even rehearsed together once when the guitarist of Tire and Pace and I just joined Sinner for maybe 2 or 3 days rehearsing, and we were just young lads. We didn't know what to do back in the days. And then we separate ways again. But we always somehow were in of course, lived in the same city, Esslingen, close to Stuttgart, and got in touch once in a while, but never really talked about doing music together until my part of splitting from Gamma Ray in the end. And I sat there not being a Judas Priest, as we all know, which is all a good thing right now. So we're really happy because now Primal Fear started, and Matt, Tom, and I came together writing some good music back in the days in 98, 97 already. We started, like you say, and then everything went a good path and a good way.
Eu perguntei para ele da relação que ele tem com o Matt Sinner, que do Primal Fear também, que é o parceiro dele de banda há 25 anos, pelo menos, que eles estão juntos desde o início da banda, desde os primeiros lançamentos. Ele falou que conhece o Matt há muitos anos, muito tempo antes dele formar o Primal Fear, deles formarem o Primal Fear. Ele tinha uma banda chamada Tyrant Pace, que é uma banda muito boa também dos anos 80, e o Matt Sinner tinha o Sinner, e eles fizeram alguns ensaios juntos, eles já se conheciam até então realmente formarem o Primal Fear e lançar o primeiro disco em 1998. And so you guys live in the same, around the same area in Germany. What are you guys doing in your spare time? Do you have a lot of spare time to kill, or what are you doing in this time? I suppose you never had so much free time in your life, right?
You're just saying it, yes. So basically, actually, we met the last 2 weeks every weekend to celebrate a little bit because we had good chart positions here. And we sat together watching football or also having a little bit of cerveza or some beers together, you know. So in the end, yeah, we still come together once in a while privately, which is a good thing. We now, as we don't meet on the road, being on the road together, we're coming together privately to have a good time in the end, to talk and have meetings too, of course, how to proceed in the next months, you know.
That's great. Eu perguntei para ele o que eles têm feito, né? O Matt também mora na região próximo a Stuttgart, e eles falaram que tem conversado muito, tem feito planos, e é muito importante essa amizade que eles têm, e eles estão muito bem, inclusive. There are some questions when we announced that we're going to interview you, okay, that some of our followers sent. And one of them is this guy said, after 30 years since the Gamma Ray album you released, no, hang on, Heading for Tomorrow, that was such an important album for the history of metal, not only for the iconic songs like Heaven Can Wait, but because it was proven that yes, there is intelligent life outside of Halloween and in the world of power metal, especially in Germany. What do you recall of that time, and how was the invitation to form the band?
Oh, it was just very important for me in terms of learning a lot. I mean, also, you know, touring the world the first time with Gamma Ray, being in the studio, recording studio, like 2 or 3 months recording with tape machines, not now, like now digital. We were doing the tape machine stuff, you know. So it was really important for me to learn a lot. And of course, to get to know the guys. I mean, Kai is just a wonderful person, you know, and you cannot not like him in the end. That was a very important time for me as well. So yeah, I don't want to miss it, not at all.
Ele diz que eu estou perguntando como ele foi, né, o vocalista do Gamma Ray, como foi a entrada na banda e tudo. Ele falou que foi muito importante esse trabalho que ele fez com o Gamma Ray. Primeiro que o Kai Hansen é um cara muito especial e uma pessoa fantástica, e foi muito importante para ele porque foi aí que ele começou realmente a carreira profissional, a experiência dele, experiências em estúdios mais relevantes e fazer turnês mundiais e tudo. So when was the first time you realized that you are a professional musician, a professional artist, and was there any specific situation that made you realize, or something really important, or playing a special concert or something? When was the time when you thought, shit, I really made it, this is my career?
Not even now, because, you know, no, I just have to say 2 things about it. Somehow you always proceed and you always progress and you always want to somehow improve yourself, right? So that's why you never really stop. You never sit on your island saying, now I made it, because you're still so creative and so productive in the end that you don't think about any career. That's not how I approach things in the end. I always did this from my heart and from my passion. And I love music so much that I don't see it like a business or a career or something. But you're right, there's the parallel thing is always somehow like a career in the end. So maybe it was in the times of Gamma Ray already when I really, those sold out halls in Tokyo, I will never forget it. We sold out Tokyo 3 times back in the days. And that was somehow really remarkable for me as well. But I was still working since 11 years ago. So I'm a professional only 11 years now. But yeah, I did some things parallel which not worked anymore in the end.
What did you used to do?
I was a part-time project leader in a German technical environment.
All right, excellent. Eu perguntei para ele sobre, né, a carreira dele. Teve tantos momentos interessantes. Qual foi o momento que ele realmente pensou que ele tinha chegado lá, né? Que ele tinha realmente se tornado um artista bem-sucedido, um músico profissional, né? Ele falou que esse momento ainda não chegou, mas ele explicou que, na verdade, é porque ele acredita que as pessoas estão sempre evoluindo, que ele tem um respeito e um amor muito grande pela música, mas ele acha que ele ainda tem muito o que crescer na profissão e que melhorar de uma maneira muito, muito simpática e muito humilde, até posso dizer. Mas ele falou que, paralelo a isso, o que ele realmente... Um momento muito especial do início da carreira dele foi quando ele com o Gamma Ray fizeram 3 shows sold out em Tóquio, no Japão. So you have a great relationship with Asia as well. You've been, I mean, there are some markets where Primal Fear it's really goes really well. I mean, Primal Fear has always had this characteristic of doing really well on the charts. Since your first album, you charted well, and Metal Commando also charted well. Is this something you guys pay attention to, or is it something that it's more for the fans or journalists to care about?
Yes, we pay attention because this is somehow for us a parameter in the end, Nando. It's a parameter how people reacting in terms of buying the album. And in heavy metal, it's not so easy to be in the charts a long time. There's a peak of maybe 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, and then it's going down again in terms of physical sales. But nowadays, things like also downloading stuff, legally downloading is also counting into the charts, which is a good thing in the end. So for us, it's an indicator if we are on the right path. So it's very important. And of course, it's also good to negotiate shows then later.
Eu perguntei para ele sobre as paradas de sucesso, né? O Primal Fear teve essa característica de, desde o primeiro disco, eles sempre tiveram boas posições nas paradas, o que é uma coisa difícil para bandas de heavy metal. E ele falou que, eu perguntei se isso realmente é importante para a banda, ou se isso é uma coisa mais que acaba sendo mais importante para os jornalistas, né? Para os releases, assim. E aí ele falou que não, que é muito importante, ele sempre presta atenção, porque isso é um parâmetro, é um indicador de se eles estão no caminho certo, se eles estão fazendo o trabalho certo, se os fãs estão acompanhando, se os fãs estão gostando, e logicamente é um bom também indicador para eles negociarem melhores cachês para os shows. So you have a fantastic voice. I don't have to say that, but you're a great singer, and you almost joined Judas Priest at one point. Do you ever think of how would be your life if you have been the Judas Priest singer for a while, or that past part of the past for you?
It was really past quite a way when they did not take me in the end. I mean, I had to repeat myself. Everybody is really happy what happened. You know, Primal Fear was born. Rob is now back in Judas Priest. Tim is doing an amazing job with his bands and so forth. So everybody who was involved and not involved, I was never involved. I was never invited. I was just maybe on a short list or whatever. So everybody's really happy and healthy. That's the most important thing. And that's the great thing behind it, you know. So I would never somehow, of course, in the times when things were still open, when there was no decision of, I fancied how it would be stepping in big shoes like Rob Halford, being the vocalist of Judas Priest. And of course, I had my nightmares and my positive times, but it never happened in the end, so everything's fine.
Eu perguntei para ele essa história do Judas Priest, né, que ele chegou perto até de substituir o Rob Halford no Judas Priest por um momento, mas ele falou que tá tudo certo, isso é parte do passado. Aconteceu dele nem chegou a ser convidado, mas ele não ter entrado no Judas Priest foi uma coisa que foi muito boa para a vida dele, porque ele pôde formar o Primal Fear. Mas é uma coisa interessante que ele sempre ele lembra, lógico, na época ele tinha esse pensamento, mas que quando as coisas ainda não estavam 100% indo 100% bem, assim, nesse sentido profissional, mas hoje em dia ele acha que foi muito melhor a maneira que aconteceu, tanto é que o Rob Halford acabou voltando para o Judas Priest. But I have to say that listening to you singing, there wouldn't be anyone good enough to replace Rob Halford. Nobody would. Maybe it would be the perfect choice if he could be replaced by someone, because he's a very unique singer. But I suppose, is he a very important influence for you?
I take it as a compliment in the end, but you know, we in Primal Fear have our certain own style, and of course, I also have my certain own style of singing. when it comes to belting and the high, screaming the high notes, it's a certain technique which many singers are also doing. So in the end, it sounds pretty much similar, but everybody has a different voice box. You can still somehow distinguish who is who in the end, right? And because it's a certain technique, opera singers always also sound very similar because it's a certain technique, right? So in the end, the vocal boxes are different, but I totally copy you, and I confirm your statement that I'm a fan of his singing. I was a fanboy in the 80s, and you can't deny.
No. I take it as a compliment. That's what I was meaning. Eu falei para ele que poucos artistas poderiam, né, chegar a substituir o Rob Halford, que ele seria uma escolha muito boa, realmente, porque ele tem um timbre de voz muito, muito interessante e potente, também consegue chegar em notas altas, e ele realmente levou isso como um elogio, mas ele disse que são técnicas parecidas, né, como cantor, e técnicas que às vezes pode lembrar a voz um do outro, mas são bandas muito diferentes, de estilos diferentes, e realmente, mas era uma influência. Ele é fã da banda de Judas Priest desde os anos 80, com certeza. And so you said you have some opera techniques. How did you start in music? How did you start studying? Did you start studying music, or was it at school? How did you start becoming a musician?
No. I just started singing, and my mother said, "You sound great." When I was 9 years old. I didn't say I do opera. I could sing opera technique, but what I said, it's opera singers also have a similar style when it comes to sounds of the voice. Those really mighty stuff coming from the diaphragm work and so forth. So that's the technique behind it. That's what I said.
Yeah, sure.
But in the end, my mother really gave me compliments and cheered me up to be a singer in the end.
But music schools, or study music at schools, it's a very common thing in Germany. Yes. Weren't you a music student when you were a kid?
Yeah, we had one class we had was the music education, and I had good grades in terms of singing, but not good grades in terms of theoretical stuff like learning notes or whatever on harmonics and so forth. I was never really good in that, but when it came to practicing like singing or stuff, I had good grades in the end.
Yeah. Eu perguntei para ele sobre essas técnicas, né? Como ele começou na música, ele falou de técnicas de ópera. Ele me corrigiu que ele não é um cantor de ópera. Não, ele falou que só usou como exemplo, mas ele começou na música. Ele se deu bem porque a mãe dele elogiava ele muito quando ele cantava. Então ela encorajou para ele, o encorajou para ele continuar cantando. Mas ele realmente tinha aulas de música na escola, tudo. Mas ele não gostava muito da parte teórica, gostava mais da parte prática, e ele realmente gostava já de cantar desde cedo. There are some other questions from our followers here. If Diego Bonfá asked if there's any talks, if there's ever been any talks about a Gamma Ray reunion.
No reunion, but we will do the streaming show next week, next Thursday. There's going to be a 30 years of Gamma Ray streaming show, and I'm invited to sing some songs, and I'm really happy about this because I always had a good relationship with the guys. We just split, and there was, in 2 months, everything was sorted out back in the days, so everything was fine and was fine, and I only wish them the best. So I was invited to sing next week, and I'm doing this. I'm really happy. And we do a little bit of rehearsal. I'm going to fly there, rehearsing on Monday, and the show is going to be Thursday next week at 8 p.m. actually, 27th of August. And I'm looking forward. Which I have my opinions about streaming shows because it's no interactions, of course. But when you are invited to do this, I'm really happy to meet my mates, and that's the most important thing, to have a good time with them. And then we're going to see how everything is working with the streaming, which is no replacement of playing live at all, but at least there's something happening, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Eu perguntei para ele fiz a pergunta do Diego Bonfá, se ele já considerou se eles já falaram sobre uma reunião, uma turnê de reunião do Gamma Ray. Ele falou que não uma turnê, mas eles vão fazer no dia 27 de agosto, na quinta-feira, na semana que vem. Quinta-feira, semana que vem. Desculpa, dia 27 de agosto, Eles vão fazer um streaming, um live streaming do Gamma Ray, comemorando 30 anos de banda. Ele foi convidado para cantar algumas músicas, e ele, apesar de ter uma opinião meio peculiar sobre essa questão do streaming, ele acha que tem pouca interação, não tem fãs, não tem ninguém assistindo, é uma coisa meio fria, mas ele vai participar como convidado. Ele está muito honrado de ter sido convidado, porque ele realmente mantém uma amizade com todos os membros da banda. Eles resolveram todas as questões quando ele saiu da banda logo na sequência. Sempre teve uma amizade muito grande com o Kai Hansen, e são pessoas muito especiais para ele. About another one of our followers, Neto, asked about the experience of having Brazilian drummer Achilles Priester playing with you, and why didn't it last a bit longer?
I love Achilles. He's just a fabulous, positive person, and what a monster on the drums, and that's why he's the octopus, right? So in the end, yeah, it was, distances and stuff, and working together. It's not so easy with overseas. We thought it's easier than it was, so we had to somehow apologize in the end, but it is fine. It's okay. That's a good thing. We have a good relationship. Whenever we meet, we have a good time and have a beer together. That's great.
Fiz a pergunta do Neto, que perguntou sobre a experiência de ter trabalhado com o Achilles Priester, né? E por que ele não durou tanto tempo na banda, porque ele não ficou tanto tempo na banda. E o Ralf falou que adora o Achilles, que é uma pessoa sensacional, que ele realmente é o polvo, né? Que toca muito, grande músico, mas realmente era muito difícil por causa da distância. No começo eles acharam que seria possível, seria fácil, mas realmente foi bem difícil por causa da distância, as viagens e tudo isso. So I'll have to ask you one thing that we usually ask everyone we interview. We have, just imagine you're maybe listening to a rock radio station or your streaming platform on random or on shuffle mode, and the song starts that makes you lose your mind, and you start headbanging wherever you might be. Which song is that?
Headbanging. It's a long time since I was headbanging.
Or a song that makes you go crazy, that immediately when it starts.
I like the Accept stuff really much, really. I like the Accept sounds of the last albums are just amazing. I love the guys and I love the music. So that's really still the time since the 80s. Accept is really heavy metal stuff for me. And that's when I shake my head here and there.
Yeah, Accept is a very interesting band because they heavily influenced thrash metal. They were heavier than most new wave of British heavy metal bands, and faster.
Yeah. So if you listen to songs like Teutonic Terror or whatever, it's just amazing songs for me.
And I think that Wolf Hoffmann is one of the best metal guitar players of all time. He's even a bit underrated because he should be maybe people talking about him more often.
I copy that. Yes, absolutely.
And I'm also happy that they found a fantastic singer. It's not easy to replace, Udo, Dirk Schneider, and
what a lovely guy he is too. I mean, he's just really down to earth, and that's what makes it so great in the scene. Meeting your friends now, which were your idols back in the days, like Rob Halford and so forth. I met them many times, and they're just wonderful people, and that's somehow such a great confirmation for the heart in the end. If you meet the people you adore and they're really down to earth and wonderful persons in the end, and Mark is one of these guys. It's just amazing, the guy.
Yeah, eu tava falando com ele, fiz a pergunta clássica do Wikimetal, qual a música que deixa ele maluco para balançar a cabeça qualquer situação. Ele falou de Accept, né? E a gente começou a falar de Accept, do Wolf Hoffmann, que é um fantástico guitarrista da banda que influenciou as bandas de thrash, mesmo antes de existir o thrash. Eles eram uma banda são ainda uma banda muito original. Eu falei que o vocalista novo que eles encontraram, realmente acharam uma pessoa certa, né? Que não é fácil ser o vocalista do Accept. Ele concordou com tudo, muito legal. Before I let you go, Ralf, everybody that's watching is at home, bored for 4 or 5 months. They need tips. So I'll ask you to say, what have you been listening to? What have you been watching? If you want to give any tips of films or series or bands or anything that you think our friends will like to watch or listen to.
I mean, everybody finds a lot of movies on Netflix on his own, so there's many things that are coming out, and that's great. That makes it somehow a little bit unboring, if it's the right English word, I don't know, but it makes the time a little bit shorter. And of course, listening to the new Metal Commando album from Primal Fear makes it shorter as well. So I would recommend to listen to that one. Along Came the Devil and stuff, will really help you.
Eu falei para ele dar umas dicas, né, do que ele tem feito para as pessoas assistirem. Ele falou que realmente ajuda muito, né, assistir filmes e séries e principalmente ouvir o Metal Commando, the new Primal Fear album, not the last, the new one, just released in the end of July. It's a fantastic heavy metal album, and if you haven't listened yet, do that because you won't regret it, and it's a very good thing you can do with your time. Ralf Scheepers, a great pleasure to have this chat with you. I really like to have a beer with you next time when you're in Brazil and watch you guys play live, and please say hi to Matt Sinner. We love Primal Fear. Thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me, Nando, and be safe and healthy, everybody, and follow the restrictions.
Excellent. That was Primal Fear on Wikimetal. Thank you, man.
Bye-bye.
See you soon.
See you too.